not their Spartans, to win the next big party. Tallies will be taken every Monday and Wednesday, with results updated on Tuesdays and Thursdays. May the best grade win. Sixth graders interested in playing rec basketball, please think about the flyers office. Here's your joke of the day. What do you call a dog with mantays? A werewolf. Thank you for your attention. Beetdiggers, and have a great day.
First part though.
Which part are you in?
I'm in station, so I don't go up there until
You're both.
when you start talking after
Okay, good close up.
they've got food candle kind of thing to do anything about. They've got food candles. Tell me what you need me to do.
Welcome to the 2025 Veterans Day ceremony. Thank you all for coming. Please stand. Will the American Legion please post the colors? We will now say the Pledge of Allegiance and sing our national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Brush Middle School choir members, for singing our national anthem. I am Wiley Kimball, Student Council Co-President.
I'm Lily Wren, Student Council Executive Officer.
I'm Mercedes Hernandez, Student Council Secretary Treasurer.
I'm Jocelyn Solano, Student Council Executive Officer.
I am Omer Duhar, Student Council Co-President. We are your MCs for today's program as we are celebrating our nation's upcoming 250th birthday and watching history unfold as students show us some significant events that led to the American Revolutionary War in 1776. Here is the Brush Middle School Band as they play Wyndham March.
Thank you, Ms. Shaper and the Brush Middle School Band. Ladies, do you know what a veteran is?
Yes, a veteran is explained as anyone who has served in any branch of the United States military, regardless of whether he or she served in wartime or peacetime.
We honor individuals for their courage, sacrifices, and selflessness in protecting the nation's freedoms, values, and Constitution. We are dedicated to recognizing all American veterans for their service and commitment to something larger than themselves.
The 6 branches of the armed forces are the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and Space Force. Thank you again for serving.
Here is a message depicting our U.S. military branches and all their great work that they do on behalf of our country and our world.
Veterans, they didn't just dedicate their time, they dedicated their bodies, their minds, and even their lives for the defense of this nation. But why? What drives someone to make that choice? To understand that decision, we must look deeper into the heart and soul of a veteran. What motivates someone to step forward while others step back? What makes them sign that blank check to Uncle Sam, payable with everything they have for freedom? Armistice Day in 1919 marked the end of World War I and inaugurated a tradition of annually honoring our veterans. From World War II to Korea, Vietnam, and the Cold War, in our more recent conflicts, and in preparing for the next one, our veterans never stop answering the call. We honor the veterans who live among us. Some bear visible scars, but all carry the invisible weight of their service. Every veteran shares one thing in common: the same inner strength and resolve that led them to serve. Why do they serve? What lives in the heart of a veteran that compels them to sign up knowing the risk? For some, it's a love of country that runs deeper than words. For others, it's the need to protect something greater than themselves, their family, their community, the freedom we all enjoy. But above all, it's the commitment to those beside them. When a veteran makes that decision, it's never just for personal reasons. It's about defending an idea and standing with those who share the same sense of duty. Looking into the heart of a veteran means seeing a love for freedom so fierce that they're willing to pay any price to protect it. It's a bond of camaraderie forged through shared sacrifice, a willingness to carry the weight of responsibility so others don't have to. These men and women didn't serve for accolades or recognition. They didn't serve for rewards or praise. They served because they felt they had to. It's that quiet, unshakable resolve that defines the heart of a veteran, a strength that continues long after they leave the field of service. Though some veterans have sacrificed much, hardship does not define them. They continue to live with purpose, showing the world what resilience and determination look like. They build families, communities, and futures, proving that service doesn't end when the uniform is hung up. You, our veterans, have more to give. You've already given this nation your heart, but your strength, courage, and commitment continues to inspire. You are the living proof of what it means to overcome, to stand tall, and to lead by example. We honor you not just for your service to our nation, but for what you continue to build. The heart of a veteran is the heart of America, steadfast, unbreakable, and always moving forward. To our veterans, thank you for your service. Thank you for reminding us all that no matter the cost, the spirit of a veteran can never be broken. Your strength is our nation's strength.
Veterans Day honors those who served in the U.S. Armed Forces since the nation's founding in 1776, when the United States declared its independence through the Declaration of Independence. Veterans Day celebrates the generations who have fought to preserve the independence and freedom established in 1776. In fact, veterans have fought before our country declared our independence on July 4th, 1776. We fought the battles of Lexington and Concord in April of 1775 and the battles of Breeds Hill and Bunker Hill in June of 1775. Since they were fighting for our independence before we even declared our independence, we honor those men who served at this time.
These battles show that neither Great Britain nor the colonists would back down, and our independence would be a difficult task to accomplish. As a matter of fact, this coming 4th of July will commemorate the day we claimed our independence in 1776.
It would take us 7 years to prove to Great Britain that we should be our own independent nation. Since then, we have fought to keep the ideals of freedom, liberty, independence, and strength.
Today we are focused on the leap up to the American Revolutionary War and a few of the many events that sparked anger in the British colonies. But before we do that, we would like to hear from a former Brush Middle School student and Brush High School graduate of 2004. We would like to introduce Commander Tristan Brandenburg of the United States Navy.
Just hold it. All right. Good morning, Rush. Thank you. It's good to be here. I'm Tristan Brandenburg, but all my friends call me Geppetto, so please call me Geppetto. I graduated from Brush High School in 2004. This new campus is a little bit, it's a lot newer. The wrestling room, for one, is quite a bit nicer. Back in my day, it was a sweat-filled torture chamber behind the bleachers in what is now your practice gym. And Coach Quinlan was a punk freshman. I couldn't quite see his feet, but see him, tell him that I'm pretty sure I could take him right here, right now. But the spirit of Brush hasn't changed much since I left here, and that's the spirit that I took with me in combat. I remember sitting in the seats where y'all are, well, not in the exact seats, they were in the old middle school building, but hearing stories from people like Walter P. Graham, who was a 4th Marine, who was who fought in Iwo Jima and then later in the Korean War, or Ray Madsen, who landed on Omaha Beach on D-Day. Finally, my great uncle, Dean Kincaid, who was a Navy chief and maintained the jets that my predecessors flew in Vietnam. So before anything else, to all the veterans in the room, say thank you. You are the reason that we're here today and we can enjoy the freedom to gather publicly like this and talk about how awesome our country is. A special thanks to Mrs. Dreitz, who was my 7th grade English teacher and then 8th grade history teacher, and somehow endured me for 2 years and said, yeah, I'll keep doing that for 25 more. Veterans Day means a lot of things to a lot of people, but the one thing it's not is to glorify war. I like to think of it as acknowledging the characteristics that draw someone to a life of service. And while service means a lot of things to a lot of different people, the men and women who have worn the military uniform share some characteristics. And I'd like to talk to you about a couple of those. Not sure this. Perfect, thank you. Yeah, I'd like to talk to you about the trust, the idea that there's no such thing as a small job, and the idea of doing things for each other. But before I get into this, I'd like to talk briefly about where I've been so we can put some context to our conversation today. I grew up a little bit to the north here on the same farm that my granddad was born on. I went to this high school, and like many of you, farming was in my blood. That is, at least for me, until I saw a crop duster fly over. I remember standing in the mud, getting bit by mosquitoes, asking my granddad what he was doing, and he explained it to me, and I thought, man, that's a lot better. Fast forward to my sophomore year, and September 11th, 2001, as I watched the towers come down, I felt my world tilt. And in that moment, I decided that this country, my family, my neighbors, this town, worth risking my life for if that's what service demanded. I applied to the United States Naval Academy, and with the support of teachers and coaches of the school and a lot of support from the community, I was accepted. We can go to the next slide, please. And hit next one more time. At Annapolis, I studied aerospace engineering. I got an education and quite a bit more. I could go next, please. The Academy continued lessons that my parents and grandparents began when I was young. The ideas of honor, courage, and commitment to do what's right even when it's hard, and to see it through. The idea that there's something bigger than myself that's worth fighting for. And the idea that even if our country isn't perfect, it's still worth fighting. Freedom is worth fighting for. You can go next 2 times, please. Perfect. After graduating from the Naval Academy, I started flight school down in Pensacola, Florida. And you can go next, where I flew the T-34C. This airplane taught me hit next one more time. There we go. This airplane taught me the basics, how to take off, how to land, how to fly in clouds, and even fly upside down. Next. And after the T-34, I was sent to Meridian, Mississippi to fly the T-45. Next, please. T-45 was a big step up. It flew more than twice as fast, could drop bombs, land on an aircraft carrier, pull more than 7 Gs. I struggled with the T-45 a little bit, but with the help of some of my friends and support from my wife, I made it through and earned my wings of gold. After that, next, I was sent to Lemoore, California, next, where I learned to fly the F-18 Super Hornet. After learning the basics in the Super Hornet, next, I was sent to VFA 22, the Fighting Red Caps, also in Lemoore, California. This was my first fleet squadron, and while I was there, I earned all my tactical qualifications and deployed on the Carl Vinson in support of Operation Inherent Resolve 2014 and 2015. Next. Shortly, one more time. Shortly after coming home from deployment, I was sent to the Navy Test Pilot School out in Texas River, Maryland, where I spent a year learning how to fly lots of different aircraft and then explain what was good and bad about it, usually with math. Next. After graduating from Test Pilot School, I stayed in Jackson River, Maryland, and did flight tests on new weapons systems and modifications to the F-18, all variants of the F-18. So test pilots are professional, why ask? Our job is to figure out what's good about an airplane, what's bad about it, and if there's any problems, we identify them and fix them so the fleet doesn't have to find out the hard way. Next, please. Finally, I was sent to VFA 204 down in New Orleans, Louisiana, where I flew the F-18C, and now I'm currently flying the F-5N Tiger II as an adversary. As an adversary, we're the bad guys for the fighters' training missions. So I spend a lot of my time getting shot, but that's a good thing. Next slide. So that's the resume, but I want to focus a little of my time I want to focus a little bit of my time on my time at sea and talk about trust. So the big idea here is that trust is built before you need it, through competence, character, and education. I think the best way to talk about trust is with a story about launching an aircraft from an aircraft carrier. So what's an aircraft carrier? Well, picture a floating nuclear power plant in the middle of the ocean with an airport on top of it. There's jet blast, salt spray, there's deck crew in color-coded uniforms moving with a choreography that looks like chaos to the untrained eye. The catapult officer gives the signal, and before you know it, you've gone from parked to flying in about 2 heartbeats. So a quick science break for the students. Catapult takes the jet from 0 to 165 miles per hour in about 2 seconds. That's an average acceleration of 120 feet per second squared, or about 3.7 Gs. Put that in perspective, that's about 3 times better than any roller coaster ride you've been on, or the 0 to 60 blast for a supercar. In your body, it feels like a steer sitting on your chest, and it's pretty awesome. But before that catapult fires, trust has been built. Next slide, please. So how many people do you think it takes to launch one aircraft off of an aircraft carrier? Any guesses? No guesses? Well, if you count the people, just the people you see in this picture, it takes dozens. But if you count, go to the next slide, please. But if you count all the other people that you can't see, it's dozens and dozens. So the cooks who fed us at 2 o'clock in the morning, the meteorologist who forecast the weather, the air boss in the tower who directed everything, the hospital foreman in the belly of the ship to take care of us if we get hurt. Everyone on the aircraft carrier has a job, and their job is all to launch aircraft off of the aircraft carrier. So it starts with the plane captain in the brown shirt who inspects the aircraft and guides the pilot through starting the jet. Next slide. Next to them are the squadron maintainers in the green shirts who fix the jets and keep them running. Next slide. And the ordnance men in red who load the bombs onto the aircraft. These bombs can weigh up to 2,000 pounds, and often they load them by hand by just picking them up and putting them in the airplane. It's pretty impressive to watch. Next slide. The guys in blue are the maintainers for the ship's equipment. Things like the arresting gear, the jet blast deflector, the catapult, even the tugs who move the aircraft around when the aircraft are shut down. They keep these systems running. Next slide. The guys in the silver, or the baked potatoes as I like to call them, are the firefighters. They're up there whether it's day or night, hot or cold, in this silver uniform, ready to fight a fire if they need to. Next, guys in purple, or the grapes, as they're called, are responsible for refueling the jet. Next. And the yellow shirts are the conductors of the orchestra. They direct the pilots to move the aircraft on the flight deck and line them up on the catapult to launch them off. They taxi us within inches of other aircraft and within inches of the side, so I do exactly what they say. Otherwise, bad things happen. Finally, there's this guy in white. He's the safety, medical, or quality assurance. His job, this guy in particular, was one of my sailors, and last name Rolfsmeyer, great guy. He was the last guy to look at the airplane before it went off the front of the aircraft carrier. So you can see the jet nozzle in the top left corner of that picture. That engine is at full afterburner, right above his head, and he's holding his thumb up to let the shooter know that he's happy with the jet, and he can go ahead and send it. Next slide, please. So when the catapult fires, it's too late to create trust. You can only spend the trust that you've already built. Effectively, every single time I launched off an aircraft carrier, I was betting my life on these guys and the equipment they maintained. So how do you build trust? Through competence, character, and communication. And competence, that means you need to know your job. Do the reps, study, know your system inside and out, practice the basics until they're automatic. Character, it means tell the truth, especially when it's hard, especially when you know it's news that the person you're telling it to doesn't want to hear. If your thing is broke, say so. And if someone comes to you and gives you bad news, or a hard truth, listen, don't get mad. It's harder to do than it sounds. Finally, there's communication, and that means talking and listening. The other story I like to tell that talks about trust is in the debrief. So after we come back from the flight, we go into a debrief. And we have a saying that there's no rank in the debrief. Every squadron I've been in has this rule. And we also say, check your ego at the door. It's not about looking cool. It's not about proving that you're better than everyone. It's about learning so that you can be more effective in combat. I've sat in debriefs where I've said, yeah, this was on me, I screwed that up, and here's what I'm going to do better next time. I've also been in debriefs where someone who I technically outranked, I had a higher rank than them, told me, hey, you screwed this up. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, I screwed that up. Thanks for pointing that out. So, students, what can you do? You can start practicing building trust now. Do what you say you'll do, show up when you say you're going to show up. When you blow it, admit it, and then work to fix it. Next slide. The next thing I want to talk about is this idea that there's no small jobs. Every single detail matters. One of my favorite jobs while I was on the aircraft carrier was I was the line division officer. I was in charge of 50 sailors and the daily maintenance of 12 aircraft. And the sailors you can see here. These are the junior sailors in the squadron. They're the lowest ranking, but we ask a lot of them. So to put it in perspective, if there's any seniors in the room, less than a year from now, this could be you on the aircraft carrier, working on fighter jets. Sailors in the line shack are in charge of the routine maintenance, the little jobs. Things like putting oil in the aircraft, servicing the hydraulics, or jumping into the intake to inspect the fan blade, obviously when the engine is off. I really wanted to instill in them this concept that there's no such thing as a small job. I told them the story of a NASA janitor. So when John F. Kennedy was the president, he visited NASA for the first time in 1962. He saw a guy carrying a broom on his shoulder, and he just casually asked him, so what do you do here? He said, well, Mr. President, I'm working to put a man on the moon. And I think that's the attitude that the perspective of that janitor really spoke to me. Hey, even though what I'm doing seems like it doesn't matter, it does, because we need to make sure everything's clean so that the spacecraft can be clean, and because of a piece of dust on a spacecraft cause it to fail. So I told them the story, but I don't think it quite stuck. I think some of them got it, but I decided I wanted to lead by example. The way I did that was the pinnacle qualification of a sailor in the line shack is the plane captain qualification. So the plane captain's job is to do the daily inspection of the aircraft. They look over the aircraft from head to tail, and oftentimes they're the only person looking at certain key safety aspects of the aircraft. So there's a lot of trust there. We trust these young sailors with my life to make sure that the aircraft is safe to fly. They also guide the pilot through starting the aircraft. They give them all the hand signals, they tell them when it's safe to start the engines, and they watch the flight control surfaces as we're moving them to check them out. So I decided to earn this qualification myself, so I could learn what they were going through and to prove to them how important this job was. This is not something pilots normally do. We're usually busy studying tactics, but at this point I had all my tactical qualifications, and so I decided to do this in my free time. So I spent my evenings carrying chains around, pumping oil into engines, servicing hydraulics, or taking fuel samples, which often involved getting fuel dumped all over you. My roommates thought I was crazy, and they were understandably upset when I came back to the room reeking of jet fuel. Next slide, please. After about 6 weeks, I was a fully qualified plane captain, and to this day, it's my favorite qualification. The other thing that we did for all our sailors was to bring them into the debrief from combat missions, to show them footage from the things we were doing in Iraq and Syria, and explain to them how what they did mattered, how we couldn't have done this if they hadn't done their job. So I wanted to constantly remind them that their job was really important. So what does no small jobs look like in your world? Well, I'm sure the football team knows this already. Every blocking assignment matters, right? Nice job with Delta on Saturday, by the way, guys. At home, if your job is to do the dishes, then wipe down the counter too. Or if your dad is asking you to help him fix the tractor, then help him put away the tools too. The job's not done until the tools are put away. So if you want to try out this concept, pick one small task, something that you normally skip, and do it like it matters, because it probably does. Next slide. The next thing I want to talk about is doing things for each other. Does anyone know what's going on in this picture? Hey, we've got someone who's been on a carrier before. So this is the FOD walkdowns. FOD stands for foreign objects or debris. And so before flight operations, everyone on the flight deck, regardless of your rank, doesn't matter if you're the captain of the aircraft carrier or the brand new guy on the boat, everyone lines up shoulder to shoulder and walks down the flight deck looking for tiny pieces of metal. No one is above bending down to pick up a screw. The reason we do this is because a single piece of metal can get sucked into a jet engine and damage that engine, or worse, hurt someone. So this is something that we do for each other. Next slide, please. Another example is the landing signal officer. So this is the guy who stands on the back of the ship and watches jets come down as they land on the aircraft carrier. On final approach, you call the ball, meaning I see my glide slope reference, I see the ship, and I think I know where I'm at on glide slope. But this guy's there to back you up. He's watching your glide slope, your lineup, and your power. He can often recognize a deviation before you as the pilot recognize it. If it's not right, paddles hits the wave off light, which is under my finger in this picture, and you go around. There's no argument, there's no questioning, because the goal isn't to look cool, it's to bring everyone back home. I've been waved off on a dark night when I incorrectly thought that I could make it work from where I was, but paddles bought me one more chance when I probably would have hit the back of the ship. So that's what teammates do. They trade your pride for your safety. Next slide. We don't just work for each other, or next to each other, we work for each other. I really screwed that up. I'll try that again. We don't just work next to each other, we work for each other. And at the end of the day, that's the goal, to bring all 12 jets and all 24 crew members, like we did in this squadron, home. Next slide. Finally, I want to talk about two of my heroes, my wife, Stacia, and my daughter, Emerson. Next slide. Stacia has been with me since the day I graduated from the Naval Academy and supported me to get my wings of gold, even when I thought that I was sure to fail. She's done the hard work of solo parenting on detachments and followed me all over the country, often starting her career over with every move, and to keep the family steady while I chase airplanes. Next slide. And Emerson reminds me of who I'm doing it for and why coming home safely matters. This is the only life she's ever known. Slide, please. With me flying airplanes. So, to the family in the room who wear the invisible uniforms, thank you. Your service is real. Next slide, please. So, Brush, it's been great to be here. I do want to have the idea of trust. Make one deposit, keep one promise, or tell one hard truth. There's no small jobs. Choose one little thing and do it like the whole team depends on it, because sometimes it does. For each other, do one thing that helps the person beside you, no credit needed. So if you repeat these things for a week, you'll feel different. For a month, your team will look different. For a year, your reputation will look different. To the veterans here, this is just my story. Y'all have your own story. But I hope that some of this resonated with you and reminds you to be proud of your service. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your service and for your example. And to the students, thank you for listening. If any of you are considering a career in military service, say do it. It's not easy and it's not for everyone. But if the idea of serving appeals to you, I highly encourage it. If you want to talk more about aviation, engineering, or service afterward, I'd be happy to stick around. And once again, thank you for having me. It's good to be home. Happy Veterans Day.
Thank you, Commander Bradenberg. Please, everyone, let's show Commander Bradenberg our appreciation for coming today and for serving our great country in the United States Navy.
Now we would like to hear from our veterans in our audience. Wiley and Alvin will be passing around the microphone. When it's your turn, veteran, please state your name, your branch of military, when you served, and the job you did when you were in the military. This is voluntarily. If you do not wish to speak, please pass the mic to the next person.
Kenneth Cadwallader, graduated here at Rush High School, 22 years Army. Did 3 tours, one in Afghanistan and 2 in Iraq.
Paul Costa, I served in the United States Air Force, the Gulf War in 19, the Hill Air Force Base.
Beetdigger United States Air Force from 1969 and 73. Served with the 561st Tactical Fighter Squadron located in McCall Air Force Base, Wichita, Kansas, working on ECM gear on 105s with assignment at Black Air Force Base in Japan.
I'm John Jarrell, currently serving in the Army National Guard, stationed here in Windsor, Colorado, doing the CERT, which is hazmat, and been in for the past 9 years. Bones. Thank you.
Vietnam, working as a peace officer between the Vietnamese Americans. Thank you.
Brian Gray, I was in Army, active duty from 97 to 2000, came back to Colorado in 2005, Colorado National Guard, began as a mechanic, later as a water purification specialist, and back to mechanic, 2017.
I'm R.J. Scott, and I was in the Air Force between 1954 and 58. I was an aerial photographer, and I was one of the guys that mapped the world. Thank you.
Served in the Air Force. Worked on someone that tried to launch.
Captain Dwight Anderson, United States Navy, USS Whipple, stationed out of Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, in 1972 to 76.
Gary Blumenkamp, U.S. Marine Corps, 66, 68, combat engineer. I found all the little bombs air jockeys dropped that it didn't go off. Thank you for making my job easy.
John Hefty,
Uniform 9295 Motor Transport.
Good morning, my name is Brendan Wilson. I joined the Marine Corps in 2019, got out in 2024. I was an E-156, Marine Security Guard, at 0311, so around 100. Thank you guys, really appreciate you guys.
Ian Scalisi, U.S. Army, 68 to 70, served in Vietnam, heavy equipment operator, demolition expert.
Lloyd Pickett. I was in the Marine Corps from 1958 till 1962 as a truck driver, part of it, being line inspector at least Georgia.
Walter Raymack, 1965 to 68, the Army, worked on the props on the airplane, year and a half in Vietnam.
Lawrence Hanson. I served in the military over in Korea in 61 to 64 as an ordnance mechanic.
Wayne Johnson, in the Air Force, E-58, 63.
Very likely, I served in the Army, 62 to 64. Spent most of my time serving with the USA Army Security Agency.
Rebecca Oliver served in the United States Marine Corps 2008 to 2012 in supply.
Jack Kimball, Navy, everything.
Charlie Alexander was in the Navy from 1969 to 1973. He was a Marine and served in the Nuclear Operation Control Center Pacific Fleet between England and Hawaii.
Matt Rocha, class of 05, here I went to school, got to wrestle just a little bit. Served from 2010, 16, on the National Guard, a couple of other guys up there with me, I actually got chosen, there was a group of 6 of us, we got to go over to Jordan, and then we're going to do what we do here to keep them mass casualties and contamination and whatnot.
Mel Peters served in the United States Army from 1959 to 1962, attended military police academy in Fort Gordon, Georgia, transferred to a base in Texas where I went to headquarters, became personal supervisor of a small base. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Sergeant Riley. I retired 20 years, and I'm a member of the VFW Brush, Colorado.
Melody Christensen, storekeeper, first class in the Navy. My son follows you all the time. That's awesome that you're here. I was stationed in Norfolk, Virginia, and Sigonella, Sicily, and worked as a storekeeper flying your airplane.
Larson, U.S. Army, 22 years. Wounded in Iraq, 2005.
My name is Galen Kruger. I was in the United States Navy from 77 to 82. Assigned to a carrier air wing on the USS America as an aircraft electrician. Graduated from Rush High School, active member of the FW. Thank you everybody for their service.
Dale Tolbert, 1979, 1985, United States Navy. Started off in data processing, commonly known as IT, and then eventually wound up doing Intel and Ocean surveillance.
My name is Scott Walsh, and I was in the Navy in a little-known sect as the Fighting Seabees from 1976 to 1996.
My name is Leticia Tavares, served 91.
Brent Gleason, BHS class of 99, U.S. Army 99 to 04, 25th ID, 115th MI, last at Buckley Air Force Base, military intel, orders.
I'm Price. I was at the Army from 59 to 61. I was in the Corps of Engineers, Fort Belknap, Virginia.
Everybody, Mark Montalvo, 2009 to 2020, favorite. I've been to Afghanistan, UAE, Germany.
Amanda Villarreal, I served as a military police officer in the United States Army from 2010 to 2000.
Is there anybody out there?
Thank you again, veterans. Thank you for your service to our country. Audience, please stand to show our veterans our gratitude.
bring a stand when your branch of conflict.
Please stay seated while we bring the second half to you, in which we honor the 250th birthday of our United States of America.
Oh, beautiful,
of becoming the United States of America. This year's 8th grade American History students are bringing to you a few of the major events that led to the American Revolution. Please note that a few shooting sound effects will occur.
Thomas Jefferson will be on stage shortly to recite the first few lines of the Declaration of Independence, the document that declared us an independent country on July 4th, 1776. But first, under the direction of Miss Angela Schaefer, here is the 8th grade choir to sing the world-renowned song that is a battle cry for revolution. You hear the people sing. From the Broadway show, Les Miserables.
The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and the equal stations to which the laws of nature and the natures of God entitle them a decent respect to the opinions of mankind, requires that they should declare the cause which impels them to separation.
After a long war from 1754 to 1763 between the French and English and their Native American allies for possession of the North American continent, Great Britain won and was then able to control all the land east of the Mississippi River and north of the Great Lakes.
This land was vast and difficult to maintain. Great Britain's treasury was broke after many years of fighting in both Europe and North America. King George III and the British Parliament expected the colonists to pay for this war, something the colonists did not think was their responsibility.
When the colonists asked the king and parliament to allow them to have a voice in the lawmaking process by allowing them to have representatives to make laws on their behalf, this was met with a hard no from the king.
King George III stated the British Crown fought this war for the colonists, and the colonists near Great Britain fought this war for their own global power.
From 1763 to 1776, when the colonists finally declared their independence from Great Britain, many incidents happened that angered the colonists. In fact, Great Britain forced 20 acts on the colonists without their consent. Great Britain then punished the colonists when they refused to pay or cooperate. There are just a few major events that led to the American Revolutionary War that began on July 4, 1776, when we declared our independence.
Hey, that colonist is my name is King George. You give me money, pay the debt for the war. Hey, that colonist is my name is King George. Will you give me money, pay the debt for the war? No taxation without representation. Don't take my money if I don't have a cent. No taxation without representation. Don't take my money if I don't have a cent. Hey, that colonist is my name is King George.
Boycott British goods! No taxation with representation! Boycott British goods! Boycott British goods!
Many acts or laws were created to help Great Britain control North America in the least expensive way it could, while it continued to exploit and take advantage of the colonists, their wealth, and all the riches found in the colonies.
Some of these acts included the Proclamation Line of 1763 that restricted colonists from settling west of the Appalachian Mountains to avoid Native American conflict, the Molasses Act that taxed molasses used to make rum, and the Currency Act that prohibited colonists from printing their own money.
In order to not pay these taxes, colonists smuggled goods. Parliament passed the Stamp Act in 1765 that placed a tax on all imported printed materials, followed immediately with the Quartering Act that forced colonists to feed and house soldiers.
When the British Crown said they placed these soldiers and colonists on instead money, the colonists knew they really sent them there to work for fun. The colonists felt Parliament had gone too far. The colonists protested with rioting, the burning of effigies, and the boycotting of British goods.
I saw an act of violence last week as I was wandering around. An angry mob formed on the street in front of Boston's Custom House, and at the end of all the hubbub, and we're lying there lifeless on the ground. And you're probably wondering how it started. Well, Edward Garrick lit the fuse, an apprentice wig maker. He said the British got a dish of drunken abuse, but what he got for all his troubles was the butt end of a musket in his mouth. Then Norman joined the conflict and
Lobsterback, go home. We don't want you here.
Go back home, you bloody back! You lobster back! Get out of Boston!
The British are killing our own citizens. They're trying to kill us all.
This event, the Boston Massacre, happened in 1770. From 1765, after the Dreaded Stamp Act was repealed, Parliament immediately placed a declaratory act on the colonists that said they could place any act or tax on the colonists that they wanted. Even though this angered the colonists a lot, things settled down in the colonies for a few years.
In the meantime, the Sons of Liberty formed with people such as John and Samuel Adams, Benjamin Franklin, John Hancock, Patrick Henry, Paul Revere, and Joseph Warren. They kept the anger alive by attacking the king and Parliament in newspapers and on posters.
In 1768, Britain found out the colonists were on the brink of rebellion. The Redcoats set up camp right in the center of the city. These soldiers were stationed in Boston and acted rudely and sometimes violently toward the colonists.
This situation, called the Boston Massacre, got out of hand. Even though the colonists started the conflict, Samuel Adams took the chance and called it a massacre. This angered the colonists against the British government. Many British soldiers were placed in the colonists' homes because of the Quartering Act of 1765.
Way back in the day, 773, the colonists were mad, they were feeling unfree. Taxes on the team, man, that ain't right. King George making rules, but we're ready to fight. No taxation without our say. That's what the Sons of Liberty would say. Dressed up at night, yeah, they had a plan. Time to take a stand, time to make a stand. Throw that tea in the sea, let it flow. Boston rebels gonna let the king know. No more rules from across the way. America's rising, we won't obey.
A British company called the British East India Company faced ruin because they had warehouses full of tea that was running due to boycotts of British goods from the colonists. To bail this British company out, Parliament passed a Tea Act in which it made the tea cheaper, but forced colonists to purchase only this tea.
The British sent some of this tea to Charleston, South Carolina, and it was seized by colonists there. Other tea was sent to Philadelphia and New York, and it was also confiscated by colonists.
The rest of the tea went to Boston, where it was stored on a British ship. Here is a scene called the Boston Tea Party that showed what the colonists did to the rotting tea that was forced upon them. I am Samuel Adams, and I say we should not have to purchase the British East India Company's rotting tea. It will put our fellow businessmen out of business. That's right, this is corrupt. King George III and Prime Minister North are taking our colonial liberties away. They should not be helping their friends' business. This corrupt behavior is not acceptable. I know, let's dress like Mohawk Indians and board the British ship at Dartmouth and dump all the tea to the harbor during the middle of the night. That would show them.
That sounds like a great idea. I know. They are going to unload the tea tomorrow, December 17th. We had better do this tonight.
I'll get the rest of the Sons of Liberty together, and we'll meet at the docks at 11 p.m. to dump all the tea into the harbor.
I just can't believe what Britain did to me. Made an act of tea. Made an act of tea. The East India Company rented a monopoly. 773. 773. They just keep taxing. Never think about escape. Call the Prince of Boston. Let's protest, say it's gotta be alright. And we're going on a boat. Better grab a coat. We're just gonna dump it off. It's the middle of the night. And we're fighting for our right. We're just gonna dump it off.
Well, word got back to King George III and Prime Minister North, and they were mad.
That very next spring in 1770, 1774, Parliament passed the Coercive Acts, which were very harsh laws intended to punish the people of Massachusetts for the Boston Tea Party. These harsh acts closed the ports of Boston, took away the rights of Massachusetts colonists, and did not allow colonists to have meetings. These acts also forced all people of Boston to house and feed British soldiers in their homes, who were mostly sent to homes as spies. These acts were so horrible, the colonists called them the Intolerable Acts. As anger continued to grow, Britain's crackdown became harsher and harsher. In September of 1774, the Sons of Liberty met secretly in what was called the Continental Congress and decided what to do next.
They drafted a statement asking the king to repeal the 20 acts placed on him since 1763.
They knew that King George would not even read the statement, so they told the Massachusetts colonists to form local militias and arm themselves against the British.
The redcoats marched to Concord, none guessed who'd survive. Bells rang in Lexington, the Minutemen stood proud. With hearts full of fire, liberty became their vow. Stand your ground, the captain said, no fire unless they do. The fate was in the muskets crack, nobody really knew. And the shot rang out through Valiant town. Freedom's flame lit up the battleground. From the farmer's field to the whirling swirl, it was that shot heard round the world.
Colonists expected that if fighting against the British broke out, it would begin in New England. Militias began to train with their weapons. Some companies and Minutemen voted that they would be ready to fight on a minute's notice.
The colonial militias prepared for the British Army to come get their weapons. And news of this was leaked to the Sons of Liberty. This gave the Massachusetts militias time to prepare.
Here is Dr. Joseph Warren, a member of the Sons of Liberty. He's walking the streets of Boston looking for unusual activity by the British Army. He saw any activity, such as marching, he was to signal to William Dawes and Paul Revere by lantern light from the steeple in the Old North Tower, one if by land, two if by sea.
Company, halt! Throw down your arms, ye villains, ye rebels. Turn in your weapons by order of King George III. Company, advance!
A portion of the poem, The Shot Heard Round the World, by Ralph Waldo Emerson. By the rude bridge that arched the flood, their flag to April's unfurled. Here once the embattled farmer stood and fired the shot heard round the world. The British continued on to conquer where another battle took place.
By the time the British soldiers made it back to Boston, 174 were wounded and 73 were dead. This was called the shot heard around the world, because the entire world was anxiously awaiting any news that the ragtag American colonists were taking up arms against the most powerful nation on earth.
In June of 1775, two more battles took place. The battles of Bunker Hill and Breed's Hill proved neither side would back down. The Sons of Liberty met one last time and sent one last petition to the king called the Olive Branch Petition, asking for peace and a representative in Parliament.
Knowing it would be ignored as well, they chose to declare themselves independent on July 4th, 1776. The United States of America was born with a unanimous Declaration of Independence. Here is Thomas Jefferson, Samuel Adams, and other colonists to finish reciting some more of this important famous document.
The Declaration of Independence continued.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights.
That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government.
Laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form.
As to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Ordinance indeed will dictate the governments long established, not be changed for light and transient causes.
And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed.
But when the long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces to design to reduce them unto absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty, to throw such government and to provide new guards for their future security.
Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government.
The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having indirect object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states.
To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. There were 27 grievances or complaints.
A few of these include no taxation without representation, the Quartering Act, no trial without a jury, the plundering and burning of colonial businesses, homes, and ships, and there should be no standing armies among a country's citizens.
We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions,
Do, in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states. That they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection in between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved.
And that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do.
For the support of this declaration with a firm reliance on
on the protection of divine providence.
We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Once we declared our independence on July 4th, 1776, it would take us 7 years to prove to Great Britain that we should be independent.
We finally won the war on September 3rd, 1783, when George Washington and the Continental Army trapped General Cornwallis at Yorktown, Virginia.
On that day, we officially became the United States of America. We would like to say happy birthday to America, as this coming 4th of July will be our 250th birthday that we will celebrate as a country.
We would now like to thank all of our veterans over the past 11 wars and numerous conflicts since 1775, when the first shot was heard around the world at Lexington and Concord.
In order to honor our veterans and those who perished in the line of duty as they fought to keep us free, we would like to play taps followed by Amazing Grace. Please stand for taps if you are able to.